Hi, it's Professor Tiffany Martin with Medical Microbiology. We are in covers viruses. We've been talking about the structure. We talked about that all viruses have to have a nucleic acid. They have to have a capsid to protect that nucleic acid. Now, some viruses also have the ability to make another layer of protection called the envelope. And they actually acquire an envelope when they leave the host cell. So let's talk about an envelope looks like in the structure. And remember, I had nucleic acid, the polyhedral capsid, could be any type of capsid, but it's again made up of the capsomer proteins. And then we may have an envelope protecting that virus. So to look at that one, an envelope, if it does not have an envelope, we'll refer to it as a non-enveloped virus, or you'll hear it referred to as a naked virus. So that's a vocabulary term. An envelope virus has, in addition to the nucleic acid and the capsid, it has an envelope. All right, so here's a picture, and we've got our nucleic acid, and we have our capsid. So this is a non-enveloped or naked virus there. It's got the capsid, and it has made up those proteins from there. If it has an envelope, that is another layer of protection. So this envelope is a phospholipid bilayer because it is taken from the host cell membrane. Now, on the outside of the protein, if we even go back, when we went through the structure, I said that these, the tail fibers or whatever's on the outside of this capsid, one of the things that has to do is it has to be able to attach to the host. So whether it's a non-enveloped or an enveloped virus, whatever's on the outside, there has to be a way to attach. So if that's just a plain helical capsid or whatever, it's got to have some proteins that allow it to attach. If we have an envelope virus, the very outside layer is the envelope, so there has to be some proteins put into this piece of host cell membrane that's going to allow it to attach to the next host cell. These proteins are called glycoproteins or spikes. So they're necessary for attachment, recognition and attachment to the next host cell. These spikes, these glycoproteins, determine what type of host it can attach to. So for SARS-CoV-2, it attaches to cells in the lungs, and that's why you have the respiratory issues involved in the disease. Okay, all right, so either way, whatever's on the outside is what has proteins that are allowed to attachment. If it is a non-enveloped or naked virus, it also has glycoproteins or spikes that will function to attach to a host cell. All right, one other thing, when you have a vocabulary term, there's a vocabulary term called a nucleocapsid. A nucleocapsid is when you have the nucleic acid plus the capsid. That is referred to as a nucleocapsid. Same thing, if it is an enveloped virus, the nucleocapsid refers to the nucleic acid plus the capsid. Okay, all right, what else about the envelope? I've said both things, the capsid and the envelope, their overall role is to protect those instructions, that nucleic acid. So it is a layers designed to protect. What's it protecting them from? Well, anything. There could be chemicals, you know, you're going around spraying bleach and Lysol and everything. So it protects it, a little bit of protection from chemicals and other things, enzymes that are in the environment from that. Could protect it. This is maybe it's a virus that's a pathogen. It's going to cause a gastrointestinal disease. It's got to get into the body and make it past the stomach. So it may protect it against acids from that. All right, so roles of the capsid and the envelope is protection. That other role is that attachment. Whatever's on the outside has to be able to attach to a host cell and allow it to get in. So attachment and penetration is a role. And then another thing that happens is, especially with the enveloped virus, well, either way, our immune system will notice that these viruses are not self and they will respond to it. So this is a way we can protect ourselves against viruses. The proteins on the outside of these viruses is what makes our immune system realize this is not self and produce a reaction. That's why once you've had chicken pox, you never get it again because you've got an immune response built up to that. We're hoping that once you have COVID-19, that you won't be able to get it again. So that's a reaction. Now, one thing about enveloped viruses, I mentioned this envelope can hide it from the immune system. So viruses that have this envelope are more likely to be pathogenic, meaning that they get in, can evade detection of the immune system long enough to cause damage, invade cells, and cause a disease.